I just interact with left wingers more often because it's like that's debate space. But specifically, I kind of want to do like review to make sure like I don't get blindsided by something, because if I'm like a 2v2 or if I'm on a panel and I get blindsided by something and somebody like cites a statistic, normally what I'll do if I'm in a one-on-one conversation with somebody, I'll like just pull up the statistic, I'll just start reading it out like out loud. I can't do that in the middle of a panel because it's like I have to hold the entire conversation to do that. So I could just get completely like blindsided by somebody. They can throw some shit out there, and if I don't know that, I'm gonna have to pull it up, and then I'm gonna have to read through it. I'm gonna write down all the objections. I'll be like, oh yeah, you were wrong about this thing 10 minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure like I have at least enough planned out where it's like I catch enough of those things where it's like, okay, the few things that do end up slowing through the crack, I'm gonna either press like console to pick up on, or push come to the shove, it's like something that remains somewhat unaddressed, right?
Yeah.
I think specifically I went over at Phenomics about like just zero-sum games and like capitalism, but like inherently by having transactions throughout like not only a capitalist society but like any society with markets, right, any society with exchange, you're going to have people always gaining value, right? So for example, it would cost me a lot to make a chicken sandwich from scratch right now. I would have to buy the chicken, I'd have to like start like a chicken farm, I'd have to make it hospitable, I'd have to grow that chicken all the way up to the point where it's an adult, I'd have to kill that chicken, I'd have to do all these other things, and then it's like not even considering like how to get lettuce, how to get the bread, and all those other things, right? But I can also go down to the store and I can buy a chicken sandwich for like $8, and the company makes money as well because they're mass producing it and they're specializing in it, right? The idea that we have specializations in labor, we have transactions then that are both gaining value to the person who's buying the product and the person who's selling the product, and that necessarily by those interactions, by more interactions happening in our economy, that will inherently produce wealth, right? And then sometimes you'll have people run back on like, okay, well, a single service worker can service like 50 different people, and then you kind of go down the line of like, okay, but they're also going to like require services from like 50 different people, right? All right.
What happened?
Yo, dude. Okay. Have you heard? I think I've told you. All right. Debate. Big debate. Sonsol coming up. He's having me review shit. We were supposed to have a conversation on stream, and then Sonsol like 20 minutes later said, "Oops, I'm not gonna stream anymore." Lol. Those are not his exact words, but it's good paraphrasing. So now I'm here. I'm streaming right now. We're live. By the way, don't end blast or anything too epic.
You know, as I'm known to do.
Yeah, known end blaster. Andrew told me that about you. I'm just
True,
like,
true.
It's very true about you. So in preparation, am reviewing some certain things about immigration, right? Specifically, I was wondering, since you have probably the most experience with the Crucible and Shapiro, I believe Noerr, both people work on the show. Am I correct?
Justin. Justin Shapiro, not Rob Noerr. Rob Noerr's been on the show, but he doesn't work on the show.
Oh, he's just like really frequent on the show?
Yeah, he's just a frequenter.
Okay. So, as somebody who probably has more experience with these people, what arguments am I going to be expecting to see about immigration specifically?
Sure. So, the arguments made, usually the Andrew Wilson argument is probably going to be the one that's similar to the Zen Shapiro argument, which is just going to be like, even though we have all we have to do to fix the problem is just have a rising birth rate, and then none of the advantages of immigration exist anymore, right? It's going to be that meme. Just like if you think that more people is more good, then all we have to do is just like raise our birth rate.
But wouldn't the counter to that be like, all right, we already have immigration, like that's the first thing, right? It already supplements that, and then like secondly, like I don't think we can point to a point where like, okay, we can like just have people having more babies. Like, what policy do we implement? I don't think that like any point. I think the closer you get is like you can point to Nazi Germany having like certain rewards for people like birth rating, but if I remember correctly from the data, it's like they have like a terribly low birth rate and then like kind of increase like a little bit, like nowhere near enough to sustain the economy properly.
Yeah, so it's with the I think the argument here of like we already have immigration, the response is going to be, yeah, but immigration is worse because it has a negative impact on our culture. It brings in bad cultural values, whereas the birth rate doesn't. So even though we have this already, this thing's better. So we should use this thing instead. The other argument given is going to be that
Sure.
in the case of the rising birth rates, right? The reason why the reason why the immigration, I think, is they're going to say it doesn't work is in the case of increases to immigration, right? You have an increase in bureaucracy for like filtering out immigrants. You don't do so in the case of birth rates. I think a good argument that they probably won't have a good answer for though.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you reword that really quickly? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like
you have
direction.
increases in like border control, right? You have to have increases in like border control spending for increases in immigration. It is going to be one argument. Obviously, the increase is actually negligible. It's not going to be very significant at all. So it's not very much of a strong argument against immigration. It'll just
There's
be
gonna be
something they bring up.
increases in border control for increase. Hold on. Okay. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm way behind like what you're trying to say here.
Okay, I'll start over.
Yeah, sweet.
When you have more people coming in, you have to spend more money on border control, and that's one disadvantage of immigration versus their policy of the birth rate thing.
Sure. So like if you have more people who come in due to immigration, you're gonna have to have more vetting of people in immigration, and that's going to be
Yeah, exactly.
pricey. Sure. Right.
Yeah, obviously the argument of this is it's not much pricier at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
This just is just like a ridiculously mild downside. The another thing is like their argument with the birth rate thing that I think is just like throws a wrench into it is like if we have more people coming in, right? We also have more people being born. These aren't mutually exclusive. We could just have both. There's
Mm-hmm.
just no reason why one like it's not like we have a carrying capacity in the U.S. that we're about to hit, right? We're
Right.
like our
Well.
birth rate's very low. Our
Mm-hmm.
immigration rates are not insanely high either, right? Most countries don't have high immigration rates. The U.S. is like high compared to other countries. We're not high absolutely, right? Other countries are just also low, right?
For birthright or
Um, no,
or
for
immigration
immigration
rate.
rate.
Okay.
Yeah, for birth rate we have a below average, right?
Oh yeah, I thought that's what I was thinking. We were like way below average for.
Most countries have a declining birth rate right now. Oh, not most. Every single country's birth rate is declining, right? Some
Sure.
countries' birth rates are still above replacement and they're just going down, right? Every
Right.
single country that anybody will ever name is going to have a declining birth rate because as qualities get better in countries, which is universally
People
something
just
that's
like
happening.
have less
Yeah,
children, right?
people fuck less. Yeah, of course.
Mm.
So they have other shit to do, right? Why would they spend all of their time fucking if there's like there's more entertaining shit, right?
Yeah.
So every single country has a declining birth rate right now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them still have above replacement. The U.S. doesn't. We have below replacement rate, and
Sure.
that's even that's even for every single demographic, right? With
Yeah.
the exception of like I think with the exception of religious people, I think they're at like 2.1%.
Sure.
So it's just not the case that like it would be really difficult to increase our birth rate, and even policies that would increase our birth rate would not necessarily mean that we'd have like too many people that were full or whatever, right? We could still have the immigration too.
Yeah. Um. I think. Oh. Asking somebody to point to like ways of like increasing birth rate or like successful ways of increasing birth rate throughout history could be like
They'll do
interesting.
child tax credit.
Child tax credit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a tax cut for people who have children.
Don't we already have that?
Um, I think he wants increases to it.
Oh, he wants increases to the child tax
Yeah.
credit. Okay. Um. Sure. So the argument for that, to recap, is just yeah. It's not like we're going to reach like a carrying capacity. Like we're going to hit the point where people like we no longer have a capacity for people, and even if we did, I think that like when immigration slowed down as we reached a capacity for people, as there'd be like for example, if we're in like
Less
housing,
of an
right?
incentive to
There's
move
less
in.
of an
Yeah.
incentive to move in, right? And then
Yeah.
it just kind of like balances out. It's like push
Mhm.
pull factors, right? And then even so, up until that point, there's no reason why we can't have like also rising birth rates and then more immigration as well, right? It's not really an argument against immigration; it's an argument for rising birth rates.
Mhm. Well, with Rob Noerr in particular, right? This is another point, which is more
Hmm.
like a point about how they debate. But with Rob Noerr, he does this thing where he's like, he'll rock out a lot of points at you, right? Like he'll maybe like 8 points. He'll Gish
Sure.
Gallop at like 8 points, right? You'll the
Yeah.
usual strategy with Gish Gallops is you just take some of the points, you just beat them into the fucking ground, and they're just gone. They're just like wiped the fuck out. And what
Hmm.
Rob Noerr does, if you do that, if you actually shit can like most of his points after a Gish Gallop, what
Yep.
he'll do is he'll remember back to one that you didn't talk about, and he'll say, "Ah, but you didn't respond to this. You had no argument against this, right?"
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, the thing there to do is like the audience will remember that he said that. They won't remember that you had a response to it, right? The obvious thing is just like, yeah, you spat out like 8 arguments. I knocked down like 7 of them, and you had no responses to blah 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 and blah, right? All of the things that
Well,
you
you
get.
didn't have responses to like my 7 other arguments, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't have a response to that one because I was busy responding to 7 of your other arguments that you gish galloped out, and I
Mhm.
knocked down all of those so fucking hard you had no
And then
counter
like
argument. You had to pivot back to one of your 8.
yeah, and then ask him to hold down on one point. I think would be like
Yeah.
something like okay, well, do you want to talk about this argument? Like
Oh,
we can focus on this
it's
argument,
so
like
effective with Rob
artistically.
Noerr. It's so effective
Okay,
to get him to like
sweet.
stick to one point. It's insanely effective. He like rides. He can't stand that shit. If you force him to stick to one point, he'll just like he does kind of like he does kind of panic under the pressure.
Okay. All right. Rob Noerr getting to stick to get to stick for 1 point. So Zen Shapiro, I was told that Zen Shapiro would spit out more like culture-based arguments, than Rob Noerr would. Is there any founding to that? Like, what's Zen Shapiro's arguments around immigration?
Yeah, he's not gonna do any race realism stuff. Zen is not a racist.
Thank God. Okay, I don't want to do race realism.
Yeah, he's the arguments he's gonna throw out they're gonna be cultural arguments. They're gonna be like they're gonna be like these are a group of people who are coming in from like worse conditions. They're gonna be a group of people who has higher rates of crime, right? Because obviously they're coming in from worse conditions. They have to, right?
Well, that's
the obvious
not
argument
true.
is like,
That's just
exactly.
not true.
It's just empirically false, right?
Like I literally just went over some of the data on the stream, and it's like just not true, right?
Exactly.
Like, they assimilate to like our higher crime rates. If you really want to talk about the way the crime rates,
and that's the second and third. Exactly, the second and third generation they assimilate.
They go up. They go back up to the standard. Yeah.
The case of first generation immigrants, they have much lower crime rates, right? One of the things that he might say is like, no, every single one has a crime rate of 100% because every single one broke the law by being an illegal immigrant.
Do you think that like as somebody who steals a candy bar is just as likely to commit murder as like somebody who doesn't?
Exactly the obvious meme argument, yeah. That's a really weak line of argumentation for him. I think if he goes down that's good. What he might do is he might realize that's not a good line, and he might move over to like, even if it's not the case, right? They still have to. It still takes effort to assimilate them. They still have like a different language, a different culture. They have different things that they care about and different things that we care about, right? And because of that, there's difficulty in assimilating these groups. Whereas in the case of raising a child, it's totally not difficult at all to raise children, right? It's the easiest thing in the world to raise children. Obviously not.
It actually,
right?
hold on. This could be an argument. I'm not sure about the economic data surrounding it, but it almost makes like intuitive sense. So I'm gonna run it by you real quick to see if you've seen the data on it. Wouldn't it be more expensive, government-wise, to raise children to like incentivize the raising of children than it would be to like import people who are already like grown as hell and then like they're just coming into the country?
Yeah. The amount that it takes to raise children is fucking insane. Like the cost of raising children, I'll grab you the actual number.
Sure. Yeah.
18 years of somebody's life without a job. Through the age of 17 is $233,000. That's the average cost of raising a child. $233,000.
Hold on. Can you tell me the source for that? Just in DMs?
Yeah, I got you.
Shoot it to me. Sick.
That is the USDA. So it's a very, very reputable source. Even if you've been saying it on it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh boy, I love government sources. I love them. They're base as fuck. Okay. This specifically has the cost of raising a child. I just fucked up my Discord. Yeah. What a guy. Holy fuck, dude. No, I think that could be the line of argumentation to go down if people like specifically bringing up like, okay, well, it costs like money to have people on welfare. It's like, oh yeah, but the child's basically on welfare for the entirety of their fucking life.
Yeah, no, it's so fucking expensive because they can't work, right? They can't. An immigrant can work day one, right? With no understanding of English, they can start working immediately and start doing something. Children cannot fucking work.
Yeah.
If you want to put children to work, now you're arguing in favor of child labor, which looks awful, like makes you look insane because it's an insane position.
Well, and maybe the 2-year-olds should be in the factories, okay? Maybe that's the solution.
And the other option is just like then you're not arguing in favor of child labor, and you're just like, okay, the children can't work, and we should just pay for this person to do nothing for 17 years. Meanwhile, the immigrants can work day one. That's a huge advantage, right?
Yeah, there's multiple years on somebody of like labor, right?
Exactly. At that point, we should be like, if this is a thing that you think is worth doing, like raising children is something that's worth doing economically, right? On the economic basis alone, you think it's a good argument for raising children.
Yeah.
Then it's definitely the case that we should be paying for like the
we should be
immigrants
paying for the already like grown as fuck children. Okay, the adults who are coming into the country.
Bring them in, right? Bring the immigrants in. Pay them to sit the fuck down and go to like like English classes once a week or whatever, right? And then it's really assimilation is really easy. Like you have a system of assimilation.
It's easier probably to pay for people to assimilate than it's going to be to like raise a child.
Exactly. It's sure.
Or like all the children like yeah. Boy. That seems like a really strong line of argumentation to go down. And then also, I feel like this is like a weaker argument, but you could also bring up the idea of like, oh yeah, whenever people like have values, for example, if somebody says, okay, well, they come from like a bad country, right? So therefore they're going to import bad values. This is like an argument that, like, again, we went over on stream. Well, there are like a lot of the times when people's like values aren't exactly reflected in their government. There's also like climate conditions that also would affect, like, for example, the way cultures are like developed. Obviously, like, for example, even African immigrating, you're not going to have them immigrating with like hotter conditions and harsher like crop growing conditions. Like that's not gonna they're not going to bring that with them.
Exactly.
There are like systemic problems that are just like not going to be brought with them. And then also people are like, whenever they are moving to the United States of America, they're not moving there because they just really love their country so much. They want to make their country like the United States, or the United States of America like their country. Right? It's actually the exact opposite. They're idolizing the United States of America. That's why they're moving there.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the American dream, right?
Yeah. I mean, one thing we could go down, I'm not sure what the polling looks like, but there could be like polling around surrounding the idea of like who has like national identity, specifically of immigrants. I would like willing to see the way that like immigrants, what would you call it, the ways that they view their national identity, specifically like towards immigrating towards the United States of America, right?
Yeah, I think all of the lines of argumentation here are pretty strong on your side. I think Zen and Rob Noerr, they have such significantly different styles. I think those are also going to clash. I think they're a bad pair up for the 2v2. You and Sonzel, your style is very different, but they'll mesh together perfectly, right? Like Sonzel is not going to be as talkative and aggressive, right? Sonzel isn't like that, which leaves plenty of space for you to be talkative and aggressive, right? It's not the case. There's like Zin and Rob Noerr are both talkative and aggressive, but in very different ways, and will want to go down very different lines. Zin will want to logic lord you on like what is your justification for this? What is your meta ethical justification? And Rob Noerr doesn't give a fuck about that because Rob Noerr doesn't know anything about meta ethics, right? What he wants to go down is like he wants to like he wants to slam out like 80 empirical studies or whatever, right? He wants to like slam out 80 reasons for his positions. He doesn't want to like.
I at this point, dude, as far as like meta-ethical justifications go to, I had an entire debate with like with fucking, what do you call them? Owen and Phonomics, and I think it's like utilitarianism time. I'm taking the utilitarian pill.
Yeah, it's a fucking utilitarianism. The arguments in favor of it is just like a slaughter, especially for like consumers.
I feel like I'm pretty good at like the rhetoric around meta ethics. The point to the point of I think I could have a conversation with most people about meta ethics, justifying like even egoism. Like I had that conversation so many times. I think I could do so effectively. I could even do so like more effectively when it comes to utilitarianism at this point.
It's so fucking robust, So one of the things that utilitarians have to deal with, right? Egoists also have to deal with this, but for utilitarians, I think we have an easier response.
Sure.
It's people giving you particular cases, right? People giving you like the specific examples where it seems like our intuitions about morals don't comply with the what utilitarianism states about morals. And the easiest answer here is like, yeah, and sometimes we shouldn't trust our intuitions about particular cases. We should trust about principles instead, right?
Yeah, sometimes our intuitions are like really dog shit, right?
Yeah. The example I always give is you know the gambler's fallacies, right?
Yeah. The idea that by every single time that you roll a chance, the amount of times that chance has failed increases the amount of the times of your success, because it's such a large data set that like inherently it almost feels intuitive that it would increase the likelihood of the opposite outcome. Even though that's not true, every single time you're rolling it, it's the exact same chance.
Yeah, exactly. Every time you roll a dice, it's always 1 in 6, no matter what you came before, right? If it's the chance of rolling a dice and getting a 6 is 1 in 6, even if you had 8 6s before, or even if you had a bunch of other shit before, right? It's always the exact same.
Yes.
In the case of like the gambler's fallacy, we have this hardline intuition, right? If we in a particular case, we always think that's going to happen, right? It's a really hard intuition to break, but we know because of the principles of math, it's not correct, right? We just know it's not true. So the same is true for morality. We have these moral rules, and then we have intuitions about particular cases. And the thing about that is I always throw that out there after, right? After I throw out a reductio on their end as well, right? So I'll throw that out right after saying something like, if it was the case that like if they give me a reductio, like if it maximized utility to like to shoot a person, would you shoot a person? The answer is always like, oh, would you shoot a person if God told you to do it? The answer is yes for both of us, right? And the reason for this is because we shouldn't trust our intuitions about particular cases, blah blah blah, something gambler's fallacy, and it's just like a blowout, right?
Yeah.
There's just not an argument on their end.
No, I've
just whatever their reductio is, whatever their argument is.
You're
muted, by the way. I'm not sure if you know that. Whatever their argument is, you can always just say like,
oh shit,
okay,
lol. I muted myself. I fucked up.
Damn.
A big on technology. I have a mute button and I fucking pressed it like an idiot. But I think specifically for like reductio shit, you could even go down like some like crazy ass path with it. It's like, okay, well, I could also give you like really random fucking qualifiers for like your ethical system. And it's like, okay, would you like rape children if like God told you to do it and you knew they would have like a good outcome? Like, let's say you have
What
to
they'll
rape
do
this
is they'll
child because
ride
a
them.
guy told you to do it, and actually, if you don't do it, there'll be like 100 babies raped for the rest of time, right? Just constantly getting raped. Like, would you rape the baby? It's like obviously you would, but it's like it's not because you want to rape the baby. Right?
Yeah, in none of the reductios they'll give a utilitarian. The utilitarian position will ever be as bad as what if God just told you to do it, right? In their case, it's like if it maximized utility, right? So like, okay, so at the cost of killing this person, I just saved like 400 people, right? Yeah, of course it'd kill the person. In the case of their example, it'll be something like God just arbitrarily told you to do it, right? And they'll ride and they'll try to dodge and they'll be weaselly and evasive, right? And their answer
It's
is just like
you just go like just answer the question. It's a simple question. Like, would you?
no,
Yes,
they'll say
no.
like the answer they'll give you is like no, that would contradict God's nature. God would never say to do that.
But what if God did? That's like the point of the
Yeah,
hypothetical.
yeah, it's part of the hypothetical, and
Let's say
you can
God
point
was
to
like a
quotes in the
baby
Bible.
rapist.
Yeah, you can also point to quotes in the Bible that are just like, yeah, he kind of did tell people to do like heinous shit, like
Didn't
take
he
the
also
children
like
and
oh
dash
yeah
them against the rock,
take the what do you call it,
the
the
newborns.
fucking newborn women and
Yeah,
some, oh my god, so
yeah, it dashed them against the
God was
rock.
on some base shit, dude.
Like he genocided all of the firstborns of fucking Egypt, right? Like of course he'd be okay with this. Like what you think all that's okay, but
Well, it
like
says thou
eating the
shalt
shit out
not
of the
kill, but he
babies.
also says to kill. Like, are you saying that God is like bound by like the laws of logic necessarily, and then you can
What
go
they'll say is
down that path? Yeah.
what they'll say is thou shall not murder, and murder means unjustified killing, right? And so any of the cases where God says you can do
Oh,
it, it's
boy.
okay to do it, right? Which is just like
Okay,
okay,
well, if God's telling me to do it, it's justified, right?
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Well, that's a really easy point to go down.
yeah.
I guess I talked to Phoenix earlier, specifically whenever I took the debate with Sonsol, because I don't think immigration is my worst topic. It's just like not the one I've argued for the most.
Mhm.
I spend a lot of time just kind of like being autistic about it, like autistic about empirics on it. Just listening to like a shit ton of arguments, but it's not something I have to argue very often because of, like, how many times are you going to argue with somebody about immigration in your life? Not exactly like the most hot topic. It's much more with all the left-wing infighting I do, I think it's much more common if I'm talking about the right winger than I'm talking about immigration than like with the left winger, right?
Yeah.
I just interact with left wingers more often because it's like that's the debate space. But specifically, I kind of want to do like review to make sure like I don't get blindsided by something, because if I'm like a 2v2 or if I'm on a panel and I get blindsided by something and somebody like cites a statistic, normally what I'll do if I'm in a one-on-one conversation with somebody, I'll like just pull up the statistic, I'll just start reading it out like out loud. I can't do that in the middle of a panel because it's like I have to hold the entire conversation to do that. So I could just get completely like blindsided by somebody. They can throw some shit out there, and if I don't know that, I'm gonna have to pull it up, and then I'm gonna have to read through it. I'm gonna write down all the objections. I'll be like, oh yeah, you were wrong about this thing 10 minutes ago, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure like I have at least enough planned out where it's like I catch enough of those things where it's like, okay, the few things that do end up slipping through the crack, like I can either trust like Sonsol to pick up on, or push comes to shove, it's like something that remains somewhat unaddressed, right?
Yeah.
I think specifically I went over at Phenomics about like just zero-sum games and like capitalism, that like inherently by having transactions throughout like not only a capitalist society but like any society with markets, right, any society with exchange, you're going to have people always gaining value, right? So for example, it would cost me a lot to make a chicken sandwich from scratch right now. I would have to buy the chicken, I'd have to like start a chicken farm, I'd have to make it hospitable, I'd have to grow that chicken all the way up to the point where it's an adult, I'd have to kill that chicken, I'd have to do all these other things, and then that's like not even considering like how to get lettuce, how to get the bread, and all those other things, right? But I can also go down to the store, I can buy a chicken sandwich for like $8, and the company makes money as well because they're mass producing it and they're specializing in it, right? The idea that we have specializations in labor, we have transactions then that are both gaining value to the person who's buying the product and the person who's selling the product, and that necessarily by those interactions, by more interactions happening in our economy, that will inherently produce wealth, right? And then sometimes you'll have people run back on like, okay, well, a single service worker can service like 50 different people, and then you kind of go down the line of like, okay, but they're also going to like require services from like 50 different people, right? Yeah, it just kind of like equates out. You just kind of go down that path. I think that's like the very basic economics, because a lot of the times, at least whenever I used to argue this with right wingers, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's like the unexplained myth of why like more people creates more wealth," and it's like being able to explain that. I think in like a way like that, I think it's the most rhetorically effective way I've come up with explaining increased value, right?
No, I agree. I think it's a really strong line.
Especially chicken sandwich. Chicken sandwiches are great, dude. I fucking love chicken sandwiches.
Same. It's unfortunate they murder chickens. It's fucked up.
Well, I would rape a chicken because it's
True.
so I beat the veganism line there. I'm waiting for somebody to be
Vegan
presented.
stun
Would you
line.
rape a chicken? It's like, fuck yeah, dude. Damn straight I would. Hell yeah.
Do you think bestiality is morally justified? Then Bunk hits him with the, of course. Depends. How hot's the chicken?
Dude, exactly. Like, what are they gonna say? Like, chickens aren't hot. Good luck winning. Good luck winning that one, buddy. That's a hard bullet to bite. So I think what most of this is gonna be, and I feel more like a lot more prepared than I did like going into this argument initially. Sonsol's having me review Destiny, a Destiny document for our debate on immigration. So I'm being thrilled to read Destiny, what Destiny wrote in fucking when was it? When was the second Fuentes debate?
Damn, years ago. Instead of the ancient one, I've got some newer ones as well that I can shoot you that include immigration sections that are really good.
Right, so
Here's an immigration research document from this Discord user named Mr. Kazuma.
Kazuma. Ooh,
Yeah,
what's
it's
the name? Oh boy. I also have my own immigration document, which is like a Frankenstein's monster bullshit with like my own writings and other experts from other documents that I have. Like it's so autistic. I need to cite some shit on the taxes part because I don't have the citations like linked in there because I think I did it while I was traveling. I used to do this really autistic thing where if I was taking like a bus or like any form of transportation, I just like open up a research document and I start working on it. Because the politics grind never stops. And I also have the point. I think this is completely done. The Swedish rape statistics one. I don't know anything else about that, but other than that, I don't know how I'm probably gonna review this document as well. That's gonna lead me to a lot of document reading.
It's good to just like have it. Do you have a second monitor?
I don't have a second monitor.
Damn.
But I can
if
just
you
I just make my face full screen when I'm debating people. So.
Good job. I was gonna say that what you should do is like while you're doing the debate, yeah, have these documents up. So that you're able to reference
Oh, you
them.
just Control F and then I look for the claim and it's like, okay, here's my citation for the claim and here's the exact quotes for the claim.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I also have like notes that I take in conversations, right? So like in this conversation, I have a couple notes like taken for like Rob Noerr and Shapiro, that type of bullshit.
Yeah. Note taking so fucking useful. I know there was some chatter that was like talking shit the other day, right? About like you taking notes during debates.
Yeah.
Like holy fucking shit. Chatter has never debated ever in their entire life ever.
The fucking notepad document strategy is so broken. Okay, it's meta as fuck. You start writing shit down, they can't counteract it. Like I literally don't know. I get nervous if I ever go to like one of those public debate panels because it's like I don't have my notepad. I don't have my notepad I can type on. I'm like handicapped, you know, like one hand tied behind my back when I'm doing that shit.
This is also a great document. It's not specifically immigration; it just has an immigration section. It has like every fucking lefty issue you could possibly think of with like a million sources. It's got like 3 sources on if singular they is grammatically correct. It's got everything. There you go.
Oh boy. I think I argued that with Mio at one point. They just completely ducked the conversation. Like, he's a singular they? Huh, interesting. And I was like, you want to like go through the singular they line of argumentation? They're like, no.
It's like the most grammatically correct thing in the fucking world. It's such an easy argument.
It is. It's so incredibly easy to do. A lot of gender behavior, which there's gender and sex point. My 2 favorite things. Transgenderism, bathroom bills. Holy fuck, this is everything, dude. This person has like the entirety of the world's issues like laid out on this in this single fucking this single document. Worker ownership, financial support, their economy, socialism, healthcare. I'm gonna Control F immigration.
If you control F on this document, it might fucking explode.
Dude, I just pressed Control F and it's not working anymore.
Oh my god. Oh no.
Dude, it's broken. No. Okay, hold
It's
on.
a huge fucking document.
Dude, this how many
Insane how
pages is
many
this
pages.
shit? I can't scroll. I can use my scroll wheel and it's not updating anything.
Skipper is in the clout is gone. I'm not sure if you want to drag Skipper in or if they're just trying to like speak to somebody else or something.
Oh boy. I don't know, dude.
Can't trust Skipper. Can't never trust Skipper.
Well, Skipper's Australian, so it's like, ooh,
Bro.
I don't know about that one, buddy. I named it The Cloud is Gone, Everyone Leave, after Diorio left, and everyone left. The cloud is gone, guys. The cloud has abandoned us. Imagine having one monitor. You know what you can do to help me get more monitors? Donate me all of your money, okay? The donation link down there. You can donate me all your money. The stream will be run, like, incredibly efficiently. I'm gonna become the #1 live streamer. I have 2 monitors, okay? This is my power with 1 monitor.
True. With a mere 1 monitor, Monk is like destroying most of the streamers in terms of the quality of content. So you're kind of morally obligated to pay $40 to Bunk so that they can buy the monitor.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be a good monitor too. That's the best part about it. It could just be like a really shit monitor.
Bunk's gonna just grab some shit off Craigslist. It's gonna be some booty ass trash monitor. It's gonna be technically made 1920 by 1080, but it's gonna be like a TV screen or some shit. Like a CRT or CRT.
It doesn't have to have like anything. It's just gonna be like, oh, I can read chat, I can edit scenes on there. I want to do something really autistic where I have like a monitor arm and it's like above my other monitor because I don't have any desk space. It'd be so sick.
They look so fucking sick. It's unreal. Monitor arms are the greatest shit.
Dude, they look so fucking sick. I'm so hyped to be able to do that type of shit. And it's like, that's the only place around me that's like not covered by something. Because I got my interface on my left, all my camera and like my lighting shit, it's all on my right. And then I have also on my left, I have my mic arm, which connects, and then it's like all that fucking XLR shit, you know? I was like, okay. The only place I need to expand is up.
True. Like New York.
Exactly, dude. Keep building higher.
Skyscraper of monitors. Slow. It's like a slow layers and layers and layers of monitor, all vertically upward.
They all just like go up and it goes onto the ceiling and shit, dude. You looking at the top monitor, like almost breaking your neck.
It's like when you're trying to like play the video games at Walmart in the fucking thing.
Yeah, good one, great one, even, dude. The best one. I don't know, dude. I'm really disappointed because I really want to review with Sansol because I don't even know what Sansol's arguments are going to be directly. I've never heard Sansol argue anything other than xenogenders. I'm a fake Sansol fan. No, I've heard him argue about lobbying, I think, once. And then he immediately brought up xenogenders, and I was like, I can't be in a single stream without xenogenders, can I? I literally, every Sansol stream I've tuned into, it's like xenogenders is mentioned within like the first 10 seconds, and it's like, no, not anymore.
Damn, this fucking the source library reloaded document has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different sources just in the claim that immigrations commit less crime than native citizens.
Like that's like really agreed upon though.
Yeah, I know. They have like 7 sources just in case anyone ever rejects it. Really, like layers and layers of sources. They've got a diversity doesn't hurt social cohesion. It's well sourced as fuck too. They got a section on economic growth, jobs and wages, taxes and social security, public benefits. They've got deportation shit too.
Dude, holy shit. Dude, this is like there's no way I'm gonna be able to load all this document. It's like,
yeah,
dude, it says 200. It's got, dude, it keeps going. The number keeps growing.
God.
We're at 300. What is going on?
On the left side, if you just scroll down where it says GSRLM/LGBT, if you just scroll down to the immigration section, right? It's in alphabetical order, I think. No, it isn't.
Control F. Immigration.
It's gonna crash. It's gonna fuck itself. You can't do it. On the left side of the screen, just scroll up.
No, come on. Wake up, buddy.
There's no hope. There's no hope.
It's fucked, dude.
You just gotta use that left side. That's the only thing that you can do here is just use the fucking left side, scroll to the immigration section, and click it.
Oh my god, dude, it fucking broke Google Docs.
I know. Oh, you could download it as a PDF and then maybe use it in like a PDF reader. That might be
maybe actually easier.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Here we go. I probably should name the stream more accurately. I'm gonna name it Debate Prep and like intentionally misspell it.
Base?
Debate pref. It's very nice to meet you. What's the current topic? Immigration. We're talking about immigration right now. Preparing for a debate on the Crucible tomorrow. When was this scheduled, by the way? Because fucking Sansel was just like, oh yeah, tomorrow. Lol. Can you
Usually
prep
the
in one day?
Usually the Crucible is 8 p.m. EST. You might be like an hour before, an hour after 8 p.m. EST. Like you might be 7 or 9.
Sick. Because fucking Sansel sent me like 2 DMs and then sent me the document from Destiny. He was like, okay, peace. I was like, okay, bud. Hopefully tomorrow, before we're like on the Crucible, we get to talk about it. Because it'd be so AIDS if we like both split off and we're both being autistic as fuck in different directions. Police, non-racism, racial reality, women and feminism, sex, imperialism, immigration, USA. I found it. Oh boy. Compared to 2.8% of Mexican immigrants in oh my god, native-born men. 10.7% of native-born men aged 18 to 19 without a high school, or not 18 to 19, 18 to 39 without a high school degree are incarcerated, compared to 2.8% of Mexican immigrants and 1.7% of Guatemalan and Salvadorian immigrants. Holy shit.
Nifty's yelling Minecraft shit at you in this fucking stream chat.
What is he saying?
Get your stuff from spawn. That's a really bad Nifty impression, but he'll have to accept it.
High school should be the standard for U.S. immigration. Oh boy. Immigration is really an interesting topic. I just don't get to talk about it very much, so I'm gonna have to like just fucking dive balls deep into the immigration point with fucking Rob Noerr. I think the best thing is I'm just like hoping that Sansol is well researched on this topic at the very least. Does he does this professionally, right?
He does stream professionally. I'm not sure if he would consider himself like a professional debater.
Oh well, I stream professionally. That's what I meant. Yeah. Holy shit, you can stream professionally like 2K on Twitch. That's fucking insane. It's crazy, dude.
I think so. I could be wrong.
Dude, it's fucking some streamers make fucking bank, dude. I know Augie makes like a shit ton. He makes like a fuck ton of money. It's insane. Augie's the only like streamer that I'm Augie and Nicholas Diorio, but Nicholas Diorio is lazy. It's lazy fuck. He doesn't do Twitch. He does YouTube, but not really, because he just does Twitch now. Because he's lazy.
I'm hopping in that server.
What server you hopping in?
Minecraft.
One? Sick. Alright, hold on. I have to find my shit. Nifty, where's my shit? So, ooh. I'm gonna be able to save like the note-taking document. Should be pretty easy. I don't know. The only time, oh my god, the only thing that I've like unresearched on that's like a super right-wing talking point is the Muslim like grooming gangs, Britain shit. It's so AIDS. I've never looked into it. Is he Cricked Creeper thinking he left the SMP? That's funny as fuck.